Is there a Talmudic prohibition for Jews to return to Israel during the exile before heralded by some sort of Messiah? We're going to clarify that now and get rid of the misconceptions out there. Clearly, there's nothing in the Torah, the prophets, or the writings. Now, we turn to the one Talmud that hints at it, and that is Rabbi Zera, who was a Talmud of Rabbi Yehuda ben Nehemiah, and he lived in Babylon, and he wanted to go to Israel very, very badly. But he knew that his Rebbe did not allow it. So why did his Rebbe not allow it? So his Rebbe used a verse in Jeremiah that says that God will turn the vessels himself. Now that verse in Jeremiah was before the first exile. So therefore, that was talking about the Jews in Babylon returning to build the second temple. Rabbi Zera disagreed with his rabbi. Rabbi Zera said like this. He says, no, that only means the vessels. It does not mean the people. So where does Rabbi Zera learn out from that it's possible that you cannot go to live in Israel? So he says there's a verse in Song of Songs. It says, I swear to you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by your legions and by your gazelles, with arousal and wakefulness, love it until it desires you. Of course, the obvious question is, 1 second, Rabbi Zera wanted to go to Israel. So why does he need to find a verse to show that people can't go? So really it means that this is what he would tell that his Rebbe, by the way, the verse you spoke about is only the vessels. This one may hint at not going. But what does Rabbi Zera do with that verse? Does he not agree that that verse hints at not going up without God telling you to? So let's look at that verse. He says, that means God is swearing that through war and swiftness, you will not have to return to Jerusalem. Just love it and yearn for it, and it'll happen by itself. And again, this is after the Babylonian exile, the first exile, before the second temple was built. So Rabbi Zera says that verse doesn't mean not go up in general. It means like a wall. What does a wall mean? So some say it means in mass. But where did they get that from? They made it up out of the blue. If Rabbi Yehuda already had one verse from Jeremiah, why did he need a second verse? And what makes this even more complex is that afterwards, there's about 2 pages of the Talmud that say how great living in Israel is, even during the exile. There's so many benefits to living in Israel, clearly. So it must be that Rabbi Yehuda conceded that living in Israel is a good thing, but don't go up like a wall. So what does it mean, don't go up like a wall? So there's the Talmud in Yoma says that if Ezra would have went up like a wall, then the temple would have been like it was made of silver. Instead, it was like made of cedar wood, which means it eventually was destroyed. If they would have went up like a wall, then the temple would not have been destroyed. So what does a wall mean? Now, clearly, he went up in mass because 42,000 people came up with Ezra. So you can't say wall means in mass. So like a wall means they would have conquered the land again. They should have gone up and conquered the land. 1 second. But this verse says that you can't go up like a wall. So how could you say the verse in Song of Songs is saying don't go up like a wall, but if Ezra would have went up like a wall, in other words, conquer the land, then the temple would not have been destroyed? The answer is it does not mean that. The answer is that you would think that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that these 2 verses together, Jeremiah and Song of Song, means don't go to conquer it, just wait and let God do it for you. He was one of those people of sit and wait, whereas Rabbi Zera said, no, we could go ahead and we could take Israel for ourselves. It is our homeland. We are entitled to it. And Ezra should have done that. There is no such thing as commandments or prohibitions anymore from the prophets or writings. As it says very clearly in Deuteronomy, do not add, do not subtract. All the laws that we are going to live by are found only in the 5 books of Moses, the first 5 books of the Torah. Therefore, it's not an obligation. What we consider it is sort of like advice. But again, it's not even advice because God says that he swears to us that's not how we're going to have to go up. In other words, it's not that we can't go up like a wall. God swears we won't have to. Therefore, there is absolutely nothing wrong with moving to Israel, buying land there, and settling there. And there's absolutely nothing wrong also with the UN creating a state and then the day after independence, when 5 Arab countries attacked, to defend that land. And besides, we're already 77 years past that. Now, for a Jew to go to Israel, there absolutely is no problem whatsoever to live there. As a matter of fact, it's beneficial to live there, like the Talmud says. And I want to say, last thing, Rabbi Zera actually moved to Israel.